Hi guys, welcome back to the JavaScript video series. This is the 18th video and today we are going to take a look at JavaScript arrays. I hope you're liking this series, and if you are, then don't forget to subscribe, and if you have any issues or doubts you can put them in the comments in any of the videos and I'll get back to you ASAP with some kind of resolution hopefully. And like I said, today we'll take a look at arrays, which is a very interesting topic and we've been putting it off since quite some time, but I wanted you to get accustomed or well versed with the basics so that you can understand arrays, and this is basically where real JavaScript starts. So open up your JS fiddle window and we'll be writing some code in the JavaScript tab today. So if you want to define an array, this is how you do it. So you define a variable called whatever the name you want to put it. So let's say I'll put the name as array, and I'll put items like this: item 1, item 2 and item 3. As you can see, I've put 3 items in between two square brackets, and that's what makes up this array. And so more or less it's just a variable. So array is just a variable which stores multiple different values, right? So let me show you what an actual array looks like. So let's say cars, and I put values of 3 different cars here. Let's say Saab and Alfa Romeo and Lamborghini. Now let's try outputting this and let's see what happens. Okay, so the spelling here is wrong. Document.write cars. So I get the value of these different cars, right? Which is basically now the cars array. So if I see, I think I've shown you in one of the previous videos, if I see the type of cars, it'll say object, which basically array is an object in JavaScript, right? So it's creating almost like an object which has these multiple values. And the interesting part here is that you don't have to store just strings, you can store numbers also in an array. So essentially you're creating a data type which can store multiple data types. So you can store strings and numbers, and then you can do a lot of different things with it, which we'll see in one of the upcoming videos, as in how we can use these things. But for now you can try and understand that arrays let you store multiple values and not just of the same data type. You can have multiple data types stored in an array, which is pretty interesting, right? So now what I wanted to show you was that an array can have a lot of values, like it can have thousands of values, right? And if you wanted to define an array like that, you're not just restricted to defining the array on a single line. It can span multiple lines. So for example, if I put all these things on a different line, JavaScript doesn't have a problem with that, right? So in many programming languages it will give you an error, but here it doesn't have a problem. So you can define an array which spans across multiple lines, and you can have really big arrays in JavaScript and it won't give you any problems. Now another way to define an array is new. New is a keyword, right? New array, and you'll say the same thing: Saab, Alfa Romeo and Lamborghini. So this is another way to define arrays in JavaScript, right? So it gives us the same result exactly. Now if I want to start accessing values in an array, this is what I have to do. I have to write the name of the array, which is cars, and I'm talking about accessing particular values inside an array. So let's say I want to access this value, Alfa Romeo. Now to access this value, Alfa Romeo and cars, I have to put an index number between these square braces. So index number basically starts from 0. So this is the first value, but this has an index value of 0. So 0, 1 and 2. So the index value of this first item is actually 0, and of second item is 1. So I want 1. So I'll pass 1 between these two square braces in cars, which will give me, this is the index value, and then I'll get, I should get this value now, Alfa Romeo. So this is what happens, I get Alfa Romeo. Now if I want to check the length of cars, this is how I can do it, length. Now I'll come to know how many values are there in my cars array. So that's 3. Now if I want to find out the last value inside the cars array, right? So this is what I'll do. What I'm doing here is I'm saying cars dot length minus 1. So cars, let's say right now, has 3 values, right? So I know that the last index number is 2. So I'll say cars.length, which is 3, and I'll minus that by 1, which is actually 2. So I'll say cars, and then it's the index value of 2 I'm passing here, and I'm getting Lamborghini, which is the last value. So this is a better way than to say that, let's say if the array becomes really big, so instead of saying 20,000, give the 20,000th value of cars, it's better to say like that, that cars dot length, whatever the length would be, and minus 1, and then you get the last value. Very easy, right? Very simple. Now if I want to change a specific value inside an array, so let's say cars, and I want to change this value, right, the second value, which is at the index number 1. So I want to change that, and I say here Ferrari, and I just output cars array here. So I can see here Saab, Ferrari, and Lamborghini instead of Saab, Alfa Romeo, and Lamborghini. The reason is that with this you can assign the value of Ferrari to instead of this place, so it basically overwrites it. So this is how you define or assign values in a JavaScript array. Now let me show you how to add some values to an array. So cars dot push, let's say Ferrari, it says Saab, Alfa Romeo, Lamborghini, and Ferrari. So it's added another value to the array, so which is called as pushing a value into the array. Now there's another way to do this, so which is cars dot length equal to Ferrari. It does the exact same thing. So you can either do cars dot push, or you can say cars, and in square brackets you can say cars dot length. So cars dot length, which is basically I know it has 3 values right now. So if I pass 3 as the index number in these square brackets, I'll get actually the 4th value, right? Because it's 0, 1, 2, 3. So third index number is the 4th value, which I want to be associated with Ferrari now. So the last value will be Ferrari, which is this. So 0, 1, 2, 3, right? Cars dot length. I hope that makes sense. So in this video I'm going to cover only these array methods. These details of an array, and in the next video that's coming up right now, I'll cover some more details of arrays. So I've divided it into basically 2 different parts, just to make it simpler and just to make it easier to understand. If you've not understood this video, just watch it all over again. If you have any doubts, put those in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.